Hello and welcome and hello back for another Tiny Boat Nation live tonight. We've got a special guest with us, Naeem. Say hello to everyone.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Glad to
And of
be
course, we've
here.
got the infamous Michael Lopez down there on the bottom. He's playing with his new drone.
Super infamous. Hey, don't tell anybody that.
The man, the myth, the
Secret.
legend.
Joking.
So tonight we're going to be covering a very important topic, something that we get a lot of questions about, and it seems to cause a lot of confusion for new people in the John boat world. So we're going to be covering the building phase or the pre-planning of your building phase before you get into actually building a boat or John boat or your second or third John boat. But this is the step that a lot of people get hung up on, and they have a lot of questions. So this is a topic that Naeem gets to deal with a lot, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and talk about what he does and where he's at and all that kind of good stuff real quick before we get into our topic.
All right. So, thanks for having me on here, Chris. For folks who don't know, and folks may know who I am already, I'm Naeem Green. I currently have the TBNation Northeast location in Maryland. And we're working boats every day and getting it done. Um, just a little backdrop on me, those who don't know, like we originally started out. I mean, let's talk about like fishing in general. Like fishing is what has gotten us all where we are today, doing what we do every day. And we started modding out boats in 2020 when I did my own boat, and it just kind of transitioned into a whole situation, sharing stuff on YouTube, people enjoying what they're seeing, and like, hey, come and do more, do more. And at the time, I was like, no way, I will never subject myself to the bodily harm that I went through when I did my first boat. But know, it's like, well, so I'm told, like women having kids, you kind of forget the pain after a while, and I jumped back in and was just doing it for fun, and then eventually became a business. My first boat I modded was a 1232. I believe it was a Lumacraft, and did the whole 9 yards on it. It had the red camo turf and all that stuff, and Elco motor, and just full build out, and just kept rolling from there, man. Hooked up with these guys, Tiny Boat Nation, and just collaborated, Tin Can Crew. It's just been a blast since. So kind of fast forwarding to where we are now, I guess a good 5 years in, we took it to the next level and became Tiny Boat Nation Northeast, Tiny TBN Outdoors, and just been staying busy trying to offer services in the DMV, Maryland, DC, Virginia area. I'm glad to be.
What does DMV stand for?
Yeah, it's funny because
Delaware, Maryland, Virginia.
yeah, Mike, you spent some time in VA, right?
Yep, and I'll never go back.
Thanks, man.
But hey.
Yeah, it's DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Okay.
It's funny because our YouTube channel, we named it Bash Brothers Fishing DMV. So folks were like, "Man, what's DMV stand for? Department of Motor Vehicles?"
That's what I thought it stood for.
Nah, not it. Not it. But yeah, it's been. I'm happy to bring this to this area because there's not a lot of it. A lot of boat shops in particular, and just bringing the expertise to our area is just it's pretty major. Folks are like, "Oh man, I didn't know you were here," and they're coming out. They're checking us out.
Yeah, I mean, I know that your area sorely needs a master boat builder who's personable, and not a sociopath.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. If anybody's out watching live, drop us a comment. Let us know in the chat where you're watching from. If you're near Naeem, make sure you say hello to him. So I'll start off with this, Naeem. What do you think the biggest thing that people miss out on when they're planning their John boat build? Like, is there just one thing that stands out to you that's like, man, everybody I talk to that plans out a build, they forget this or they don't do this one thing? What would you say that is?
I think they kind of missed out on what to me is like the most obvious thing. It's like, what is the most important thing to you when it comes to your boat? And that kind of governs everything else from there. Like what's important to you? Because a lot of times I'll have folks call and we're talking about their bills, and I start asking questions like, well, what about this? What about that? How many hatches would you like? Do you want a casting deck? And I think a lot of times folks kind of they don't lead with that, and that really governs how you're going to lay out your boat and move on from there.
So let me ask Mike a question. You've done a lot more boat builds than I think all of us put together. What is your first step in the process when you are planning out a new build? I know sometimes you get some squirrel brain ideas and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go do this and I'm going to start tomorrow. But like when you're actually sitting down and doing the building plan, what is the first thing you go to?
Well, how I do it seems to clash on how everybody else tries to do it. So I would just honestly just tell people your boat needs to solve all the problems that you have. If it doesn't solve all your problems, it's not going to be a good build. So what problems do you have?
Yeah.
And what's the most important deal? Because let's be honest, a 16-foot boat or a 14-foot boat is generally the most common that people are modding here. And you're only going to be able to stick so many things in that boat. So it's got to be prioritized to solve the most major problems. And you're going to have to sacrifice some things or go with some things. Like if you choose to stick a console inside a 14 or 16-foot boat, that's going to dramatically destroy your ability to create usable storage and a usable decking platform. And it's going to be crowded in there, but you'll have a little comfortable seat in the helm. And that you got to ask yourself, how important is that to you? Because for me, for the longest time, I thought it was just a giant waste of space. And I thought anybody who couldn't deal with just sitting on a bench and sacrifice that console area for usable deck storage. Because once that goes away, you have rod locker options. You have 2 or 3 hatch storage options. You have a place for your batteries, a place for all your tackle. You have places for vertical day boxes. The minute you stick that console in there, all that goes away. All of it goes away. And about that, but for a boat to actually be usable, like for you to have rod storage and usable tackle storage and a side console or center console, the boat needs to be like 19 feet long, right? 18, 19 feet. I would say 18 foot minimum, but really 19 feet for it to be comfortable. And so that's the cutoff. That's why we had this Tiller Life builds. We had this for the longest time because you could just get such a max efficiency build. You could put literally everything you could from a major bass boat. You can stick pretty much all the storage that a major bass boat has inside a little 14 to 16 foot boat. You just have to get rid of the console area and that stupid, I'm going to sit back and relax stuff. You're going to have to tough it out in the back of a bench, which is not really a bench. It's a back deck by the time we're done with it. Right. But you got to tough it out there. You're going to have to steer with your hand, and you got to be having the mindset that, well, I'm only going to be going from point A to point B for 10 minutes, 20 minutes at the most, right? From point to point while you're trying to put a pattern together for a tournament or putting a pattern together for whatever. And the rest of the time you're standing up on that deck and fishing. So what are you doing most of the time? Are you just joyriding around in the lake, doing the social thing? Or are you out there to really get on some fish? Then you need to make a fish catching machine, and you don't need to be putting all this luxury crap in there. They got to figure out what kind of person you are, like kind of fisherman you are, how serious you are about this. Because my rig, I'll tell you what, it might not be the most comfortable. I mean, Naeem, you've been on it, right? Right? I've had 3 people on that boat. Yeah. But man, does that boat find fish, Naeem?
Oh yeah, we got on them.
Its sole purpose is to find fish. And the last time we were here with Nate, he got all squirrely and he has this red ear itch. I'm like, it's not even a season for them. Oh, we got to find them. Dude, that boat, we found them. And it was tough. But I tell you, if I didn't have that boat laid out exactly how it needed to be laid out, we would have not found them. Yeah. It was hard. Jeez, it was hard.
Like I always
What about you, Naeem? When you're doing your boat build planning, what's the first thing that you start out with? Like what's every time your go-to? Like I'm going to plan out this build, or I'm working on a build with a customer. What do you start with?
I typically will ask people like, what are your top 3 things that are most important to you? I also ask like, first of all, is this fishing boat? Is it crabbing boat? If you do fish, are you catfish? Are you bass? So that kind of lays the framework. So top 3 things could be like, I need a lot of storage. I'm a bait junkie, or I have a lot of rods on my deck. So I need a big casting deck. Or I need a boat that has a lot of speed because I make long runs, So I always try to pinpoint like what is the need, and kind of along the lines what Mike is saying is like what's important to you, like what's a problem for you, because we need this boat to solve it. When we're done, it needs to solve your problems. So I just build off of that. And once we can identify and really get down to what is important and what do you need, then we go into, all right, this is how we get there. And it's funny, sometimes you'll even find situations where the actual boat doesn't meet the need. So, for example, I mean, you could uh, be a bass fisherman, but then you have more of a skiff style boat that doesn't accommodate that naturally, you know? So sometimes folks even have the wrong boat to begin with. And then it's funny, some situations you end up where you're saying to yourself, man, I wish you spoke to me before you got that boat, or you got all this stuff and brought it to my shop, you know, because I really like to talk people through and make sure that they have the best outcome based on what they want and need to have in their boat. So yeah, I definitely start with those top three things, like most important things, and just build it from there.
What's your next focus after you establish, you know, because I'm kind of the same way as both of y'all. The first thing I always ask customers or when I'm building a boat is, what's my primary purpose for this boat? What am I going to spend the most time doing? You know, for me, like, I'm building a catfishing boat. The two things that are most important to me are how much time I'm going to spend behind the tiller riding around looking at map and down scan. And then the second thing is how much open space I've got to move around in the back of the boat, because that's where I'm going to be fishing at. Everything else is secondary to those two things. So that's what I focus on first.
Yeah, 100%. What kind of fish you're targeting dramatically affects your boat layout.
Yeah.
With a catfish boat, you really need a wide open space, right, for comfort and moving around. And
Yep. Pretty open in the middle.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's got to be, that's totally a total different game for walleye. If you're going to do something that's specifically targeting walleye or crappie, that's the whole thing there. So there's that. And then the next thing comes in is budget.
I was going to say that, like, literally budget.
Budget is
figure out your budget,
because you can build something on a low budget, you can build something on a high budget, and as long as it's built a certain way, they'll both turn out nice and they'll both last a while.
So go either one of y'all, it doesn't matter, but you know, we'll start with Naeem. So when you start with you know, you got somebody who's on a very low budget, like say they only got a couple grand to spend, maybe 3 or 4 at the most, and then you got people with a higher budget. Where do you go in the planning phase with those two things? You know, you got two completely different opposite ends of the spectrum. You got somebody who's willing to spend a whole bunch of money to get everything they want, and you got somebody with a limited budget that wants to get as much as they can for that budget.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about tailoring the build to what you can afford. So it's not so much saying, okay, well, in some cases you will have to sacrifice and say, okay, well, you can't have this, you can't have that included. But in general, if you're on a low budget and you want a casting deck, okay, let's get you a casting deck in there. But you may only be able to have 1 hatch versus 3 hatches, you know, or 5 hatches. So, and your trolling motor may be, you go with a lower grade trolling motor. But it's the whole point is not to say, all right, well, you can't do it, because where there's a will, there's a way. You got places you can get used motors. I mean, heck, you can get materials off of Facebook Marketplace like aluminum and stuff these days. So, you know, I tell people just take the approach of not like saying, oh man, it's just too expensive, it can't be done. It's, well, all right, these are the things I need. How do we quantify that within that budget? And if there's things we have to sacrifice and take off of it, then just do that. But just try to keep the essential things that like aren't really the wants, but the must-haves. That way, at the end of the day, you feel like you accomplished something and it is serving your need.
I know one of the, like, here's a scenario for you. I get this, and I've seen Ryan do this in the shop a lot. We get a customer call. They're like, I got 3 to 4 grand to spend. I want a rod locker that'll fit all my 7-foot rods. I want a live well. I want a day box. I want a recess foot tray. I want front tackle storage, rear tackle storage. And the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. What do you do in that scenario?
We tell that person to build it yourself. You might pull it off with that budget.
Well, that's what I'm saying is we get a lot of people that are in those shoes, and they're like, I want to, what they're wanting is going to cost them, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. But they only got 3,500 or 4,000 to spend.
Well,
I mean, it's nice to deal with people who are able and willing to deal with that budget. Somebody who's able but unwilling to deal with that budget. The people that I'm personally trying to avoid is that I want all these crazy things, but I don't want to spend a whole lot of money. How can you help me? My answer is to those people is we can't. It's either going to be a lot of money or a lot of time or a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you don't have the money, but you're not willing to put in the time, then you just ain't going to have a boat. We got no remorse or pity for that person. But person who doesn't have a lot of time or money for whatever reason, they're young and on the come up, or they just run through some hard times in life, but everybody still needs to have fun and go fish, and you're willing to put in the time to build that boat. You can do it with $4 or $5 grand by yourself. I would say most of my boats up until we started getting it really eccentric were only $4 to $5 grand. And they're pretty nice. They trended everywhere. Obviously, we have this channel.
Yeah. What about you, Naeem? Do you think?
Yeah, that's right. You definitely can't hire someone to do a full build out for $3-4 grand. That won't even cover materials, right? If you're for all that stuff Mike listed, no way on earth. But if you're willing to take it on yourself, we don't do it, but frame with wood. There's ways around stuff. You may not still get all that in there, but you just do your best at just being really smart about where you get your materials from and just try to work it out. But it's going to take time, because if you're doing a lot of workarounds, that's going to take time. It's not going to be a smooth process, because you're almost fitting what do they say, a square peg into a round hole. So you just got to try to work that out, or wait, find save your pennies.
So I'm on one of the things that I like to think about when I first get into boat building and I'm planning out a boat build is, like, for me as the builder, one of the very first things I try to figure out is where everything electrical is going to go in the boat. Where is my lights going to be? Am I going to have headlights? Am I going to have side lights, gunnel lights, rear lights? Everything that has anything to do with sparks. I want to know where all of it's going to be so that I can plan my framing around where I'm going to hide all the wires. That is the very first thing that I think about. Is there anything in particular that either one of you think about when you're first starting out a build and you're like, okay, I want to do all this stuff. This is the one thing I want to focus on, making sure that I get right from the get-go?
Just after you're done framing your boat, that's when you really got to lock that down. Definitely, you got to lock it down before you start putting on the deck panels, whether it's wood or aluminum, or as long as it's attachable, I guess you can mess around with it. But and you gotta look at your foam layout, and so there's a bunch of controversy around that. But let's just assume for a moment that you're going to put a lot of foam in, so your boat is as sink proof as possible. Then it really complicates your wiring layout, like, tremendously. Then you got to start running conduits. You got to run conduits through the foam. And if you're going to do it in the four corners of the boat, which is what's recommended, then you got to have a way through that foam. Or you don't, because then you have no void to run the wires. But I've seen people some people just get away with foaming the floor and they don't foam anywhere else, and they have tons of void in the boat build, and they can run wires anywhere. As long as it's in the floor, Chris, it is what it is. What we're trying to avoid is no foam. But actually, when Nate told me something interesting, if your boat's over 18 foot, you don't have to have foam in there. Apparently, there's
20.
Over 20? Oh, it's over 20
Yeah,
then. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Apparently, there's no replacement for displacement.
Oh, so it's just a brick going down?
I don't really know, but I guess it's really hard to sink a 20-foot boat even without any foam. But
no, it's just because usually on 20-foot or bigger boats, you're required to have insurance, and they're not too much worried about it. So, but the weird thing, and I've even talked to DNR about this. I was hoping I could get one of our DNR guys to come and do a live with me one night, because this is one of the questions that I want to ask one of them. But I talked to a local DNR guy, and I was asking him, I was like, can you show me in the law book where it says that me as a boat owner am responsible for putting foam in my boat?
You're not.
It's only up to the manufacturer. So
it's the manufacturer. That's why we don't manufacture freaking boats. Such a freaking pain in the ass to get around that.
Exactly. But I see that on Facebook and Instagram all the time. People are like, oh, if you don't put foam back in there, you're going to get a ticket.
How are they going to know? Are they make you pull a panel off? These idiots. They say that. Don't go on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. Stay here with us on YouTube. Oh, that's Facebook people in here. Dang. Never mind. You're just Chris, what were you saying? Dang. All right.
Well, so I know Ryan's not here. He's actually watching the live, I think, right now. But one of Ryan's first things that he looks at as soon as we start framing a boat is where are we going to run all the live well plumbing. So unfortunately, we build a lot of boats with live wells. I'm not big on keeping pet fish in my boat, but everybody else apparently likes to have a live well. So like I always forget about it, and Ryan's always like, "Oh no, wait, we got to stop right here. Where we're going to put the live well plumbing at?" And we start planning that out. Like as soon as we start framing out the boat and we know about where the live well is going to be, he's already in there drilling holes and getting ready to start running tubing and piping and stuff for all the live wells.
You kind of have to, because I mean, once you start putting in your subfloor, I mean, you're basically locked in. You need to get your plumbing in, at least your drains. Like if you're running tube from the middle of your boat to your transom, you kind of got to jump on that early.
Yeah.
So gold star for Ryan. But to piggyback off of Mike, like I think conduit's underrated. Like you really have to know your conduit situation if you're doing a full build out and you're going to be running electronics and having a bunch of wiring. And not only like just saying, okay, I've got one conduit going from front to back. You probably need multiple. You probably need some on both sides of the boat. I mean, it's a real thing to really figure out before it's too late. You may even want to consider separation from your transducer wire to your other power, positive, negative leads. Just thinking about interference and stuff like that. But I just think that's highly underrated, the whole conduit topic.
No, the only boat I didn't really have to run any conduits in is because we had liners. Like we had those drop-in bins Nate made, and they dropped it right into the dry hatches. And at that point in time, you didn't need to make any walls because the bins were were the hatches.
Yeah.
And so you could run wires anywhere you wanted, and if you needed to access or troubleshoot anything, you just pull the bins out. And pretty much underneath that deck was a whole void. And you could.
Did it have a cockpit in it?
Huh?
Did it have a cockpit in it?
Yeah, it had a cockpit. It's that little pump roller. That 10-foot pump roller.
Yeah.
And that one had Nate's bins in them, and that was, I think, one of the only times I never really had to run an actual conduit. But all the other boats have to do it.
We've gotten away from it. We don't even use conduit anymore. We kind of like how I did in the duck boat build when I did the video series on that. Before we start really putting any decks in, we go in and we trace out where all of our wires are going to be, and we put those little zip tie holders on the bottom side of the framing so we can take all of our wiring and stick it to the underside of the deck so that's up and out of the way. We don't have to run it anywhere. But later on down the road,
avoid, right?
Add something or change something, the zip tie holders are already there. All you got to do is cut a zip tie, add your wire in, and put a new zip tie in, and you're good to go.
No, but that's in a void.
Everywhere we do it. So like if we're running wires from the front of the boat to the back of the boat, I won't put them somewhere where they're going to be covered. I'll put them up underneath the rod locker. Yeah. And I'll run them up, on the roof of the rod locker, like on the bottom side of the deck, so that they're always accessible, but they're out of the way.
No, I got that. I got that part. You're fastening them under the deck with zip ties, right? And spots. Yeah. So but there's an open void there for you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no foam in your way, or there's no blockade in your way, no wall, no weird wall. Yeah, so I mean let's be honest, that's the easiest way to do it. Right? So the least painstaking headache way. If you're not trying to make an unsinkable boat to go to war with at some of these like weird on a lake, on a body of water that has boot swings like a woman, then you don't have to do all that. Right? If you're gonna be on a small lake, moderate chop, you might see the occasional white cab, but most of the time you're going to get your boat back. And you just don't need to go that extreme. Like I built my boat to the extreme. Like it was also, I probably lost a bunch of hair in the process of building that boat. So like, I mean, the fact is that most people kind of just want a basic deck layout. They want a front hatch for storage, a rear hatch to stow the gas tank, and maybe a live wall. A rod locker is nice, but a lot of people don't even want that. But a lot of people do. And then they don't need rod tubes. Sometimes they just want a giant void. And if you want that, if you want rod lockers that have voids, then all your foam, if you're going to run it at all, needs to be in the subfloor. So,
yeah. Jump a couple of quick comments here. We had Richard said a lot of people don't upgrade the motor from the get-go.
Richard Werner is on the live.
He is.
Black ass mother frigger. Where you been, guy?
We see that a lot. We see a lot of people come in with a full build and on a 16-foot boat, and they still got a 9.9 on the back of it. And I'm like, you ain't gonna be moving too quick there, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Ernest Johnson. He's watching from Warner Robins, Georgia, a couple hours down south of us. I hope you're going to have time this weekend to come up to the Cartersville Noe Expo. We're going to be there tomorrow. We're leaving tomorrow morning, so we'll be there tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you got a free chance this weekend, you ought to come check us out at the show. It's an excellent fishing expo.
You got a booth there? You got a booth there, Chris?
Do what now?
You got a booth?
Yeah, so we'll have the duck boat up there. We'll have all the electric outboards and some of our products and stuff, and then we'll have the Crest Craft. We're showing off a new mod we did to the Crest Craft. That'll be up there, and then me and Ryan will be there to shake hands and kiss babies and sign autographs and all that fun stuff.
There you go, man. There you go.
So Damien said, greetings from Houston, Texas. New to build outs and looking forward to hearing the conversation. We appreciate you watching. If you got any questions, make sure you leave them down in the chat. We'll get to them as we're working through this. Steven's back from Texas. Thank you for watching. Glad to have you back. Miguel's watching from Florida. Do you guys recommend removing bench foam and replacing with something like fender bumpers that will float? What do y'all think?
One more time. Removing bench. Do you guys recommend removing bench foams and replacing with something like fender bumpers? Fender bumpers? Oh, inside there?
Yeah.
I never thought about doing that.
Yeah.
But here's the whole thing. Why we don't use foam noodles. Well, foam noodles disintegrate. But if they didn't disintegrate, we wouldn't use them anyways because they're round and hollow in the middle, and there's just a bunch of unused area they're just voids. The whole thing for foam to really work well is it fills a whole void that water could potentially take over and pull the boat under. Okay, if there's not enough actual space in the boat for the water to overtake the initial displacement of the boat cannot sink. So you got to think about whatever you're doing when you're adding flotation in there, if that's going to fill enough void. So if you have like fender bumpers, you can't shove enough of those together and squeeze them together to really, there's going to be a bunch of creeks and crevices and a bunch of voided space that will still be left unchecked. Now honestly, I'm not saying I would do this, but you could do this. You could put a bunch of those fender bumpers inside a void, and then you could foam around it. That would work. There's a way. Some people like mix all different types of foam, chop it up, and pour foam around it, and that works. Like, it's not the most recommended way, but it does fill a void. You just think about the absence of water. That's really what. And aside from smoothing out your ride when you're going fast down the waves, that's what foam does. It removes water's ability to sink your boat because enough water cannot get in there and sink it. It can't. Like there's videos for days about it, including Chris actually did one of his where it couldn't do it.
I thought that was science, man. That was a really telling video. I mean, if you guys haven't seen that video Chris did, definitely check it out.
We're going to be doing more. So
yeah,
the goal is like I want to do.
You got to do it with an outboard in the back, though, Chris. You took the outboard off.
Well, I knew I was going to probably sink the boat, and I didn't want to destroy it. So
we should just get a junky outboard that does not work.
Well,
we know that from
that's
Facebook
why I put
Marketplace.
two
Stick
people
it
on
the
back of the boat to like simulate having an outboard because I knew I wasn't going to drown two people.
Oh, I see. I got it. All right.
But we've still got some more things that people have suggested that they want to try before we like come to a final conclusion. And then once we do, we have like all my video evidence together. We could put together one big foam video that's like, hey, these are all your foam options. This is all the myths out there in the world. Here's what we tested and what we actually found out. And here's my boat almost sinking. Jim's got a question. So what do you think of 16-foot Lund V-bottom boats?
I think probably Lund maybe makes the best V-bottom boat.
I don't think I've ever personally worked on one.
Yeah, I get a lot of Lund V-bottoms at the shop coming through, more than any other V-bottom models. And I mean, and that goes for like the skiff styles to the big 19-footers. And I mean, they're made pretty rock solid, especially the bigger ones.
Yeah, I only modded one in my life, but that thing was completely solid. I had no problems. It's been on the earth 40 years, no saturated foam, no leaks. Probably went through 12 owners, and at least 3 or 4 of those owners were sheerly neglectful to the boat, right? Because the exterior wasn't in good shape. but the boat in and of itself had no leaking rivets, and it had a foam chasm with the core in the middle. It was built right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't take a lot to build a V-hull subfloor right. It just does, but it does have to be all right, and it'll never saturate the foam. And so there was no evidence there of it. It was pretty good. At least they had enough common sense to pull the boat plug. We should talk about things to look for in a boat that you're going to buy one day. One of these lives needs to be specifically that. We can go on about that.
So we got a question from Dustin. Said, a statement. I need a Sea Arc trolling mount. We have those, not specifically for any boat. They're made for every boat. There are adjustable trolling motor mounts. They will fit pretty much anything that has a flat section to screw or bolt into. So check those out over on the website. If you have any specific questions about it, leave a comment in the chat, and I'll actually pull it up here in a little bit when we get done with these questions. I'll actually look at one. HS Salvador watching from Utah. Thanks for coming back, buds. Good to see you. Good to see you. I actually gave you a shout out, by the way, in my podcast that's coming out this weekend. So make sure you watch it, because you left a comment on one of my videos. It was really funny. So that'll be coming out this weekend. Travis is asking, what's the best way to waterproof the Black Seal?
What?
The Black Seal?
The Black Seal.
Is he trolling us?
I thought that was like a V-hull thing, and I just didn't know what I was talking about.
No, I don't really know if you can clarify what that is.
Yeah, Travis, if you're still watching, drop something in the chat and let us know what Black Seal you're talking about. We can elaborate on that for you. Dustin's asking, if there's a crack in an aluminum boat and you weld that crack, will it always have problems down the road?
No.
Not if it's
welded it right.
Yeah.
You can even braze the cracks and probably not have any problems. If you drill a hole at the top and bottom of the crack and then braze over it, it will look ugly, but it'll patch it. That'll be about the strongest bond that you can get, metal for metal, but you'd have to paint over it because the brazing material is very highly corrosive because most of it's zinc, like 80% zinc or something. So you've got to paint over it once you put that glob there. But a lot of people will patch holes in the bottom of aluminum boat with brazing rods. And sometimes marine epoxy is supposed to flex with aluminum. It does a lot of times. I think most of the time it does. Just you can't pile it on too thick.
Yeah.
But because polymer-based materials and obviously aluminum expand and contract differently with weather changes, that's where you get separations. Why we tell you to never use fiberglass to patch any holes, so a lot of times that glove it or that coat it stuff on the bottom of boats separates because of those things. If you put thin layers of marine epoxy, like marine grade epoxy, like West Systems, what is it? G-Flex?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, West Systems G-Flex thickened epoxy resin. That stuff really works well. Mavic 610. I think it's 610. West Systems 610. Thickened epoxy will also work. But really, aluminum brazing rods. But no matter what, if you have a crack, drill a hole at the top and at the bottom of that crack, or it will continue to crack. And it'll just get worse and worse and worse.
I think where you see a lot of aluminum welding cracks fail is it's actually the welder's fault. Usually either at the beginning of the weld or at the end of the weld. Where you start or end, there's usually a divot or like a small indentation in the center of the weld puddle.
Like the crater?
If you do not fill those back in or make sure they have enough filler material in them, that little divot is a weak point for a crack to start. And usually what I see is a lot of boats that come in with these gorgeous TIG welds on them. People are just like, just the most gorgeous Instagram-worthy TIG welds you've ever seen in your life. And then 2 weeks later, it's got a crack from one end all the way to the other, straight through the center of it. And that's because those little divots start a weak point in the weld, and it just starts at one end and works its way all the way to the other end. And you got to be confident in your welding skills to be welding up cracks in the first place. So if you don't feel comfortable doing it, take it to somebody who actually knows what they're doing, not somebody who just makes pretty TIG welds for Instagram.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
No, I agree. I mean, if you're patching a hole, so I mean, the most ugly glob of weld on there, as long as it's a hole and there's no disparating spots like you said, that's fine in of itself. That'll hold. And most of the time, it's underneath the hole anyway, so nobody can see. I don't know why you would try to make it pretty. That's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Think about it. Make it work. Make it robust.
HS Salvador said he upgraded his motor from an 84 Honda 10 horse 4-stroke to a 2026 Suzuki 25 horse.
Good job.
That's
congratulations. Smart move.
Very good upgrade.
Yeah, very good.
If you're still watching, I'd like to see a comment from you. Can you tell us what made you decide on the Suzuki over the other ones? I'm curious to hear your answer because I get this question a lot. It's like, what outboard should I pick? What's the best brand? And I'm like, I don't know. They all work pretty good to me, but I see a lot of Suzukis out on the water, and everybody seems to love them. Don't have hardly any issues with them. So
you should pick the outboard that there's a shop there for near you that can fix it.
That's true.
That's a good tip.
Like, for instance, I might like Yamaha.
That's a good tip.
But there's like mostly Mercury Marine Techs around me here on the West Coast, and like one Yamaha guy.
Yeah.
And so
Spooner said he's watching from Cali. We appreciate you watching. He's got a largemouth and a lake in his backyard. That's awesome.
Lucky you, man.
Matt's asking, do you sell a full deck over kit for 14-footer? Mine is currently a 3/4 deck over and plenty stability, and would love to go a full deck over.
Like
Mike,
the whole thing is a deck?
Something real quick. Go ahead, Mike.
The whole thing is a deck, so what he's wanting?
He's wanting to do a full deck boat. No cockpit, no nothing.
I mean, where are you going to flip the fish in? That's what a cockpit's for. I mean, to put your knees in there, obviously, but that's where the fish goes. So it doesn't. You lose a lot of fish that way. They'll just fly. You flip it on one side, it'll just flip itself right over the other side. I don't know.
You know, the first thing I think of when someone has a full deck is, how do you run your outboard? Like, where are you putting your feet? Like, it's just kind of wild to me. But I mean, each to their own. Like, just make sure you're
really. If you're making a full deck boat like that, you're probably trolling around.
Yeah.
You probably just want a floating barge almost.
Maybe. Just.
But I mean, if you're trying to get any sort of speed, you need a cockpit. You need to be able to sit down, or you need to have a grab bar. You could do it with a grab bar.
You just have your legs out like that.
I mean, no, you could just be standing up and tilling, but you have a grab bar. Right?
Man, Mike, you're an expert at that, by the way. I tried that a couple times, and I don't know, but
yeah, I need a grab bar too. I'm playing with fate there. I almost flew off my boat.
And you're running what, a 60 on that?
Yeah. Yep. I need to get on the water here.
Impressive.
I try to be impressive when I can be impressive. Not very often. It comes in spots.
Yeah.
We got somebody from Arizona said, have any of you guys tried vinyl flooring? If so, have you tried the snap-on kind? Would you ever choose vinyl over EVA foam?
Snap-on vinyl? I don't even know what that is.
I've never done it.
That's news to me. But I would only choose vinyl if you're not going to be nice to your boat at all. It's going to go under serious amounts of punishment and neglect. And you just need something to cover and seal the wood from water damage. Like, that's all vinyl is really good for. Other than that, it's completely useless. It doesn't dissipate heat. It doesn't provide any comfort. It's just a covering piece. And depending on what the color is, it can look maybe aesthetically pleasing in that regard, but it is literally the absolute cheapest crap you can put on your boat. It's even worse than carpet, and that's why Tracker has it on all their entry-level boats there in Bass Pro. You see that shark stuff, it looks nice. Stand on that for an hour with your feet not hurting. So I would say it doesn't compare at all to EVA foam at all. But what you can do is you can take EVA foam and it'll stick right to vinyl. Right to it. You can EVA foam your boat. It's already prepped for it. You get a vinyl decked floor like from like Tracker. You can EVA foam that thing today. That's my take on it. I don't know what you guys think.
You messed around with vinyl any, Naeem?
No, I haven't.
I have.
Yeah.
It's aesthetically pleasing. It works in spots, but I mean, it's the worst decking material out of.
How's it do with like heat dissipation? Like,
doesn't. It's polymer. It's plastic. It holds it.
That's what I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, terrible. Burn your skin. You'll burn your skin to the core. It's just like stepping on a hot plastic boat in the summer. Burn your feet. Yeah. 2023 Krameth. All right. Sweet. Heck yeah, man. Let us know how it goes. You should join our school program and post a forum and post your build and show the progress. We're always interested to see how people do things.
Yep.
We have a school program, by the way, guys.
He's got it arriving tomorrow. glad we could get it out to you quick. We try our best to get everything out as soon as possible. We do get backed up from time to time. Like the last couple of days, it's been in the 70s all over the place, and we have been slammed busy. Like it has been nuts the last couple of days. It's like somebody flipped on a light switch and 7,000 people just remembered that they had a boat they needed to buy stuff
Yeah,
for.
I've been getting calls all day. I answered 75% of them.
It's been wild the last couple of days. So Alice is asking, do you recommend board for buoyancy?
Look, anything is better than nothing, but foam board is really used in fiberglass boats because you can fiberglass around it. But foam board, when it comes to you, it's generally not sealed. So are you guys there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you use AP pour foam and you pour that in a void, and it expands and then cools and solidifies, it's sealed until something breaks that seal. When you get foam board, you're going to have to cut it and do things, and it's not sealed after that. It'll soak up water like a sponge. So and then it's also really expensive. I don't know. I've tried to source foam board. Have you guys tried to source it? It's expensive.
Yeah, it's
like not worth it.
The price has gone up a lot for foam board over the last.
And the only thing I can really think is if you're fiberglassing around it, then it's probably really good, right? Because it's already there. You don't got to pour it. You don't got to worry about the mess. But if you're in an aluminum boat, it's got no place in an aluminum boat. In my opinion, it's kind of stupid. But I think pink foam in that case is probably a lot better.
Yeah.
I like the pink sheet foam.
I do a lot of
That's just my personal preference.
Best way to build a 12-foot flat bottom, the lightest you can possibly build it. Microframe that thing out of 1/16. Be very conservative. Use the thinnest decking you can get away with because you have no displacement in that boat, and you will fill it after a full build. I built one. It's the last one I'll ever build. Well, when I did build it, it was that microframe, and that did work. I was able to pick that thing up and put it in the back of a truck bed. But I had just pushed it just far enough. Anything over and it would have been miserable. But yeah.
Well, at least the flat bottoms are also easier to build out. So good for you.
For sure.
You'll
like it.
That's a plus.
If you build it light enough, you can run it on dollies in and out of a truck bed. That's a good thing. That's one good thing about a 12-footer. You can do it. And even the right 14-footer, but it gets really hard at 14 feet. But like a 1232, a 1236 gets a little harder, but a 1232 will flow right in and out of a truck bed. It really will.
If you're just joining in on the live from Instagram, I apologize. We've been running for like 40 minutes now, and I didn't realize that Instagram wasn't streaming. So if anybody from Instagram has any comments or want us to go back and cover anything, just let us know. Or you can go back and watch it on YouTube later. This will be recorded and it'll be available for everybody to watch on YouTube at their leisure. So we got a question about the Light Skiff Air, which doesn't exist anymore. Well, not
they do.
Original. They're coming back.
They're coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah,
you're gonna really like them when they come back. They're just not here right now.
So we're actually doing an all new Light Skiff Air. Mike has been heavily involved in the design process. We're waiting on prototypes to come in so we can test them out, make sure they're good, and then I'm sure as the second they are available, Mike will be out posting a video on one because he loves that Light Skiff Air more than life itself.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe a little bit. Let's put it this way. Well, only thing I'll say about the new incoming Light Skiff Air, think about the perfect inflatable boat for fishing, all the problems you had and all the worries you had in that thing, and then imagine them all gone. That's the boat that I helped process and make, or I had a hand in. Seagull is teaming up with us. They've been making boats for decades, like quality air fishing boats, and they really took it keen. They were keen on what we told them, and we all finally came to a final agreement of what the final model will be. And it's the most robust fishing machine. I mean, we took care of the bottom with the coating on the bottom for it to be extremely robust there. But not only that, we took care of coating on the inside of the tubes because people were complaining about, small little punctures from fish fins. And so we enforced the inside to take care of that. We have ports, places, we have benches, we have seats, spots for seats. And then we made it specifically like I made mine with D-rings all down the side to put any modification you can. But this time they're actually going to be quality D-rings that are heat welded on versus glued on like Chris and I did, because that's all we could do with our capability. But these will come out of the shop manufactured like that. It'll be the first actually modifiable inflatable where you can just truly accessorize and modify it however you want. Like it'll be the first one to actually do it besides the one that I made.
It'll be pretty cool.
It'll be very cool.
Well,
yeah.
Naeem, this question, I'm gonna let you answer this one. Is because I know you got experience with this. Is spray foam in the can that you can get at the hardware stores any good?
Well, for what? For what though?
Yeah.
For boat foam.
No, for filling a whole void for buoyancy.
Yeah. I don't know why'd you pick me for that one. I don't mess with that stuff. I mean, I'll fill like small areas to be able to pour foam in for larger areas, but I mean, try to foam a boat from a can.
We use a special one, the quad foam, because it's closed cell. The regular great stuff in a can is not closed cell, and it will absorb water like a mofo.
Wow.
Yeah. If you have that spray foam, it's literally just to fill a gap.
Yeah.
Or stop something. And normally, like Naeem, I'm using it to film in something where I'm about to pour foam in there, and I can't feel that crack there or something. But you know what actually works better than spray foam? Duct tape. Duct tape works way better. So if you can use duct tape to cement and seal in all the sides,
or the aluminum tape.
Or aluminum tape, it's probably even better. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
aluminum tape is probably even better. But duct tape or aluminum tape will work better than foam. But there's specific areas where you're just not gonna be able to put tape in there, and you use the foam there.
Yeah.
And I try to use tape because in certain circumstances, the pour foam was so strong, it blew away the quad foam, or it blew away the gap filler, and started pouring to that stupid hole anyways. And then you got a serious problem.
Yeah.
So that's happened to me a few times. But it doesn't happen when there's taped.
That pour
foam it can't push through the tape.
Yeah. That stuff is strong. Like it'll
bulge, very strong.
It'll bulge your deck up, like if you're not careful.
Yeah.
It will. That's why I don't put on the deck until I give it a haircut if it expands too much. But yeah.
So HS Salvador is responding back to my question earlier about why he chose the Suzuki outboard. He said it came with the remote control and the wiring harness for the same price as the others, and he also said that it would be like $800 more between the Yamaha and the Tohatsu to get all the controls and everything he needed versus the Suzuki. That's why he chose the Suzuki. That's not a bad deal.
That is good. Yeah.
Yeah, the Suzukis tend to be more cost effective. I'm curious about the remote control though. Like, how's that work?
What do you mean?
He says it came with a remote
throttle shift control.
Oh yeah.
Say that again, Mike.
Pretty sure it's the throttle shift cables.
Yeah.
Throttle shift. Yeah, pretty sure that's what he's talking about.
A lot of people call them remote controls. But
I'm like, okay.
We call them throttles. So I got a comment here about the full decks. It says we think you're trying to mimic skiffs with a grab bar. Actually, no. We've actually built, and me and Ryan did a couple of them not too long ago, but we had a lot of people that have access to really small farm ponds or just small lakes in general where they don't have to go very far. So there's no reason for them to lose the extra storage space just to have a place to put their feet in, because they're not going to be running an outboard. They're going to be running trolling motor only all the time. So they want that extra storage space in the boat, and that's why they did the full deck over. Because skiffs, and if you look at a real skiff, like you go look at a Hell's Bay or any of the other real popular skiffs, they're not even close to being decked over. They got a gunnel height deck up front, usually a small center console with a fish box or a small bait tank, and a very, very small back deck. They have a huge cockpit area that you can walk all the way around. So but that's the one thing that I see a lot of people asking about, pond boats and stuff like that. If you're not going to put a motor on the back and you don't have any reason to have a cockpit space, you're totally open to deck that whole boat over if you need the extra storage space. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Now, if you ever plan on later on, you're going to add an outboard and maybe go to a bigger lake, and probably smart not to deck the whole thing over, because you're going to be sitting Indian style in the middle of your boat, hanging onto a rope while you're running around with an outboard.
I mean, to me, a cockpit just adds a lot more usability, just to be able to throw stuff in there. You're on the go. You're trying to launch your boat. It's just, I'll never not have a cockpit, personally.
I have more cockpit space in my boat than I do anything else.
That's what she said.
I heard that.
Kyle says hello, everyone. Kyle is our website genius.
Hi, Kyle. How are you doing?
He's up late, probably playing Minecraft and watching our live.
The life.
Kyle plays Minecraft.
James says
just put that on his resume.
The welding shop probably welded at least 50 holes from the rivets and screws. Wasn't going to chance some faulty welds are burning through. Very smart man. He's actually one of our school members, and he was showing me and Nate some pictures. He had probably like 3/8 to 1/4 inch holes all the way down the side of his boat where somebody had like bolted in a deck or something like that. And he was going through all the different ways to patch them up. There were so many of them. He ended up just taking it to a welding shop, getting it done.
Smart.
That's the way to go.
That really is the only way to go at that point.
It's a smart way to go.
Yeah.
He said, thanks for the info on the vinyl. He's going to do the EVA foam.
No problem. And you know what? No bad cast. You know what that makes you? Smart. Good job. Because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I'm still going to use it anyways." So you just listen to it. That's a smart move. Is the EVA foam? There's nothing that actually beats it. And we can even we could have a topic on that too. Huh?
Naeem, do y'all do carpet at your shop, or y'all just strictly EVA foam?
No, we do both. And I was going to say, like, if folks are decking their boats out, stay away from the Amazon foam. Like, we haven't even talked about types of foam, like brands and whatnot. But
yeah, we could talk about that. That's its own live. But we can talk about that briefly. Yes, if you get Amazon foam, you deserve what happens to you afterward. And I'm not being dissensitive because I bought Amazon foam and I foamed my boat.
I did too.
I deserved what happened to me also. And what happened to me was the painstaking reality that you're going to have to scrub all that stuff off once it starts to flake and powder and dissolve after 6 months of use in the sun because it's got no UV inhibitors.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
now, if you made the mistake of buying Amazon foam and you're stuck with it now and you don't want to put it in your boat, I do have one use for it. It makes great tabletop covers and toolbox toppers.
It does.
If you got a plywood workbench in your garage, put you some contact cement down on the plywood and then stick that Amazon turf on top of it. You can, use it to hammer stuff on and, use it as tabletop workbench for a while. Then when you get done with it, you can peel that crap right off and stick another piece on there.
It also works good in the interior of the boat. So if you did get it, it's not a total loss if you can't return it. Put it in the interior of your boat. It actually does really, really good for sound deadening and heat dissipation. It just can't take UV light. It destroys it. And you really want a good EVA foam with UV inhibitors, and that is CDEC, that is HydroTurf, that is Marine Mat. And then I don't know anybody else who is trying to compete with them, but those are the three major powerhouses that come out of the top of my brain that absolutely do have those things, and you can leave those out in the sun. And there might be some colors that fade, but the foam itself will not destroy itself. Like
it doesn't degrade.
No, it doesn't degrade, and it doesn't powder up, and it doesn't do anything. But it might fade with coloring, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
the fading of the color does not correlate with destruction of the foam.
We'll have to do a whole live stream one night.
For sure. You could do a whole live stream on EVA foam all day. Yeah. Carpet's still not a bad way to go. But I mean, if especially if you're not willing to redo your deck with lids and stuff to be gap for EVA foam, carpet's still all right.
Yeah.
You just gotta deal with what comes with it.
A lot of time, like for us at the shop,
our
carpet jobs are basically with bass trackers. I mean, you know why? Like they're already built that way.
For sure, yeah. I mean, then it takes a whole lot more money to convert a carpeted boat to an EVA foam boat. It's much easier to build one and then make it for EVA. But like our hatches are gap for EVA foam, or it can be gap for carpet. But most people are buying them gap for EVA foam, and it's extremely easy to install it. But a tracker with those lids. Once you take the carpet off, the lid is like 1/3 the size.
Yeah,
it all sinks inside the compartment. Yeah, and what are you going to do? You need new lids. So a lot of people are like, "No, that's too much money," and I get that because it is too much money. Might as well rebuild the whole boat.
I'm actually doing one right now where he's converting Bass Tracker to turf from carpet, and it's not fun, but we're getting it done. So stick around, guys. Look out for how that turns out.
Are you follow Naeem, his channel on Bass Brothers DMV? He's showing his stuff that he builds, and they are pretty epic. We brought him on our team for a reason. We have a really tight crew. Naeem made it in by the skin of his teeth. I'm joking. Here. No, do I like Emerald Outboards? Heck yeah. Can't cuss on this, right? I'll get demonetized. But if I could cuss, I would say, you know what I would say. But The answer is heck yeah. I love Evinrude outboards. I can't have them anymore, but I love. You know what happened to my? I can't have them anymore because there are less and less people that'll work on them. You know, almost I can't find anybody, and I live in a lake town, which is pathetic. But it's really, really hard to find somebody who will work on an old outboard. And so when that happened, I was like, okay, this thing's a liability. I can't get it fixed. But before that, I loved them. Yeah, they were so powerful. If you take a 25 horse Evinrude and you put it against like a 25 horse Mercury 4-stroke of today, the Evinrude just smokes that thing. The old Evinrudes smoke it. Not even the comparable. So yeah, I don't know if you can work on them. I for some reason, whenever I try to work on an outboard, it ran worse, and I kind of just I don't have the confidence to deal with it. I'm sure if I just took time and used my brain, I could figure it out. But like if you're willing to do the time and learn and do the work and learn how to maintenance those old outboards, find all the parts on eBay because that's the only place you can find parts for them. Yeah, and you keep a thing running. That's absolutely a great motor to have. It's loud, smokes, but man, is it powerful. Man, does it go. It'll spool super high in RPMs. It'll just go.
I got a quick question from Instagram. Said, how do I send my build to you? So on the main page of our website, there's a contact us section, and you can contact any of our shops, Illinois, Maryland, and Georgia directly, and you can talk to anybody there, whichever one's closest to you, about getting a boat build done. Another question. How can I buy one of your John boats you build? You guys ever put them up for sale? So we don't normally build boats for sale. We're doing our first one right now. The Duck Boat Project, if anybody watched it on YouTube, it is actually going to be up for sale this coming weekend and the following weekend at the NOE Expo or the NOE Expo. And if anybody wants to buy it, it'll be available to buy at the Greenville, South Carolina Expo. Naeem, do you ever build boats that you sell? Or you only
I did it once, but I typically don't. So it's kind of a whole nother niche that we haven't quite tapped into. And honestly, I don't know if there's a full market for that, but right now everything's kind of focused on existing boats folks own that they want to upgrade or do whatever to.
We're not efficient enough to put out a production boat line.
I
mean, there's that. It takes us too long. For there to be a successful production boat line, you need some things. Now, we do have a shop that could do it, just choose not to, because even with a productive shop that has its stuff together, it's even still hard. But really, you need a whole team to build boats and put them into production and it be profitable and it not burn the person out. Like, you need somebody who will weld and frame it. You send it to somebody who will deck it or turf it. You send it to somebody who will rig it, somebody who will paint it. A team of 4 to 5 people is really what it takes to put a boat together efficiently and quickly. One person is not efficient. 2 people is better, but one person is not efficient. And then one person doing all those processes, it is a thing to do all those processes, but it's not. That's why. How many boats can you put out a year, Naeem? I could put out like 4 or 5 if I really, really just grinded. That's that's pathetic. For 365 days, you put out 5 boats. I mean, of really serious superior quality. I don't know. If I was just pushing out boats like the conservative boats, I might be able to do one a month. But really, you're dealing with boat companies that put out one a week.
No, doing it by yourself, that's definitely true. Like right now, I have 3 employees that work at the shop. So, and that's on a part-time basis. And that alone increases productivity like tenfold. So to Mike's point, like you have to have people in place to do that kind of work at that level, because it's so much involved in creating a fully customized boat, and naming those facets like painting, rigging, framing. I mean, not to mention possible rehab work, but I mean, if we were to do some production line with new boats, you still have to go through all the phases to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're gonna try, with the YouTube stuff, anytime that we bring in a boat project that I'm not personally keeping, we're gonna try to sell them at the end of the project after we get done filming and everything, so that we can kind of recoup some of the money and put it back into new projects. Because I can only afford to build so many boats every year. So we're gonna adventure down that road. We're gonna see how this duck boat build goes first. We've already had a couple people call and wanted to buy it already, so I'm hoping it'll sell pretty quick. We got a question here. I got a 1648. He did say it was a flat bottom. It's a 1970 boat. It's got 3 benches. What would you all do or add to it? Use it for fishing and duck hunting. Since you kind of doing the same thing with the same size boat that I have, I would do a similar layout to what I have. Basically, split the boat in half, front half deck, so you can crappie fish, bass fish, brim, whatever you want off the front. You got plenty of room for a bow mount trolling motor. You got plenty of room for storage. I got 8 foot of storage in the front of my boat. I don't have any rod lockers, but in the back half of my boat, it's wide open. So I can sit down and put some chairs in there and duck hunt, put a blind up if I want. I can catfish off the back, which is what I do a lot. And then I also bow fish too. So I got enough space on the front deck where I can run a couple of lights and bow fish. That's just kind of my all around boat build. Y'all got any good suggestions?
I like that. I mean, with a do-it-all rig, you kind of don't want a large deck. You want a 4-foot deck up front, 5 max. Then you want a 4-foot deck in the back, maybe 3, right? And you want that big void in the middle.
It depends if you're, if you only duck hunt for a couple times a year, and like say for instance, like say this guy 10 rigged. If you're a bass fisherman and you like to go bass fishing with your family member or a friend, and you're going to have somebody in the back of the boat, having a full open back of the boat like I do may not be important to you. You may be wanting to have a big back deck, 3 or 4 feet, so that somebody can have a pedestal mount back there. For me, I very rarely ever go bass fishing with anyone else. If I bass fish, it's by myself in secret because I don't want anybody to know that I did it. So for me, having a back deck is not important. So I don't have one. I just have a little bitty bench in the very, very back that covers my gas tank. And it's a place for me to set my cutting board for cutting up bait when I'm catfishing. Aside from that, there is no back deck.
I mean, he's gonna need a place to store his blind and his duck buoys, and there's a lot of crap. I seen somebody roll in with a little 14-foot like sea nymph, and his boat was loaded with, and also some dead ducks that he had got. So it was obviously successful for him. But he rolled in, and there's just so much crap in there. Like it looked like a war zone in there. So I just seemed like he needed a lot of room to do duck hunting in a boat, which is why there's like an open layout for him. But I mean, I don't know what you guys think about that. I don't duck hunt. But I look and I admire what people have done. So, but really, I think a room for the blind, right? Because eventually they put up a blind. There's not already one built into the boat. It's like he was carrying his blind and then he set it up once he was at a spot.
Yeah.
He had like sticks, put them in poles, stuck the blind over him. Then I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he pulled it off. But
I would think you would want to like figure out which one it'll be primarily used for, and then be able to convert it quickly for the next thing, because and I'm not an expert duck hunter by any means of the word, but 2 different uses, right? So you kind of have to choose one and then make it usable for the other.
Do you have a lot of duck boats
yeah,
up there?
Really, you're going to have to choose one you're going to primarily do and make it useful for the other.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can even do 3 purposes, like my pontoon boat. I would say it's almost an even split between all 3. I made it so it can entertain family and friends, which is what it mostly primarily does, for being honest. But then I did all these crazy things so it could fish well, which it fishes very well. And then I made it so it could bow fish. But that's like its tertiary thing, right? Primarily, I mean, to be honest, it wasn't supposed to be primarily a pleasure boat, but it has been primarily a pleasure boat. Secondarily, it's been a fishing boat, which bothers me. But
Team, do y'all have a lot of duck boats up there in Yankeeville?
You said up my way?
Yeah.
Yankeeville?
Yankeeville? Never heard that before, but
that's what we call it.
That's not really.
You call it Northeast Yankeeville?
There is some though. I mean, I've come across guys who have duck boat setups, but the majority is fishing guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's some people that will do the sea ducks. They like to hunt for the sea duck. I didn't know if they come down your way. I know a lot of guys go up to like North New York and Maine and all that stuff up there.
Yeah.
I think EVA foam like HydroTurf cut groove camo is perfect split for a fishing boat / duck boat, because it's comfortable on the feet. and it's nice to fish on. But then I've seen hunters drag bloody deer and guts and tools and stuff right over that, and they just spray it off with a pressure washer or their garden hose, and it comes right off. Like,
yeah.
And they're pretty mean to it. That's what I will say about, and it's specifically the cut groove camo. I'm not talking about the pretty little teak stuff, because that stuff actually gets damaged pretty. It can scratch it. It's kind of annoying. But something about how that cut groove camo is formulated and the fact that it is camo, it is probably one of the most durable decking materials. If it is extremely durable, like you gotta try to mess it up. You really do. Like it just takes a beating. I don't even. It's the least you have to worry about it the least. So it's like perfect for a hunter or a multi-sportsman, like the gentleman we were just talking about, like the Gator Cam, or the Gator Cam is probably the most robust, right? It's got the least colors that can fade.
Patterns are easy to work with.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about they're all pretty robust, but I'm talking in terms of like the least maintenance and ever having to wash. I would say like the Gator
color,
the color, there's least colors to fade. I mean, it's black and it's green, and I don't know. So that to me is.
So we got a question about pour foam, Mike. I don't know. You or Naeem probably do more of this than I do. How hard is it to do pour foam, and how do you figure out how much to buy and where do you get it? Well, you get it from us, number one. But I'll let them answer the rest of the questions.
Chris is right. You should get it from us because we sell the good stuff. If you get it on Amazon, you get what you get. I would tell you to not get pour foam on Amazon ever. But it's not that hard. We have a masterclass specifically, and I show you guys really in depth. If you get into our advanced masterclass through our school program, we show you like verbatim how to do it. We also have public videos on YouTube, but for viewer purposes and entertainment purposes, it's kind of sped up. But we do like a full first person view, very slow, and show you how to do it and how to manipulate it. And it's not that bad. You'd have to. You can pour it in spots. It's better to pour it in one large pour, because that'll be the most energy that it will have. The hotter it is, the better it expands. So you want the full expansion rate out of it. You want to pour more of it than less of it. If you're worried about over pouring, then you can pour small parts of it at a time. You just won't get the full expansion like you would, but you'll still get a pretty good result. I mean, if it over pours in your void, as long as the deck's off, you can shave it. And people are worried about sealing the top. The water is not going to seep into the foam from the top. It'll do it from the bottom or the sides. So shaving the top is not bad, as long as the rest of it is sealed, which on the four corners and the bottom, it's always sealed. So it's pretty good. But again, our school program, we have a really, really extensive advanced masterclass specifically showing you how to do foam at a really, really high pace. So yeah.
Mike, good to see you. I don't think he was on last live. He wanted to say hello to you.
Yoda's on like all the lives. What's going on, man?
How you doing? Another listener from Mexico. I had Mexican food tonight. It was amazing.
So did I. Hey, man. How's it going?
So we got, let's see here. All right, so 1970 Polar Craft flat bottom. It's a 1648. I think it has 3 benches and a small front deck. Mainly fish, and would be using it to transport the duck blind or transport to the duck blind. What would you all recommend? So since you're not going to be actually duck hunting out of the boat, building it as a duck boat is probably very, very little of importance. It sounds like you need more space than anything. But if fishing is your primary goal, build it as a fishing boat and just put pedestal seats in there or some way that you can transport people safely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're watching the live, make sure you hit that like button.
Thank you. We forget to ask. If you hit the like button, people will actually come here. If you guys don't like it, they think the live sucks.
Yep.
And then nobody comes.
So it says, what's better, a 25 horse Merc or a Intercyonial? What is that?
I don't know.
Or a 25 Merc C Pro for a John 1436. I can tell you, I have heard and seen a lot of people with C Pros, and they seem like they last forever. I know every big company that does boat rentals down in Florida, a lot of them use the C Pros.
Yeah, anything that's rated for the ocean is generally a pretty good quality. It has to be, or it'll die. So I don't know what the international is, but international. Pretty sure that says international. I don't know what the Mercury International is. If that's just a standard 25 horsepower Mercury you're talking about, with the red labels versus the blue labels. I mean, if you're in freshwater, that Mercury 25 will last. They'll both last just fine.
And just putting a 25 on a 1436, I think
that boat's gonna go, man. You better have,
I think
you better have foam in that boat.
I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time picking that one, you know.
All right, so apparently I was wrong. Kyle is not playing Minecraft. He is actually Facebook Marketplace shopping, and he found a 24-foot pontoon boat. It's a 24-foot party barge. Seats and carpet are very rough. Deck of the boat looks perfect from the bottom. Tunes look great. No scratches or dents.
What size are the tunes, Kyle?
Trailer. Is
what
it
size
worth
are the tunes?
$100?
See if he'll respond real quick. What size are the tunes? 20.
Yeah, I got it right here. He just sent a picture of it to me. It's a party barge.
Yeah, but how big are the tunes? What's the diameter?
Oh, it doesn't say. It looks like they're probably 15s or 16s.
No, long or wide in diameter?
Inches diameter.
16-inch diameter.
It's a Sun Tracker party barge. I don't know if that makes a difference.
I mean, he needs 23-inch diameter tunes minimum for it to be a good boat.
Yeah, they don't look super big.
Can you post it on can you share that on here? Let's look at it.
It's just he just sent me a screenshot.
Okay.
It doesn't look. Let's see if you can see this. See if it'll focus.
No, those are pretty big.
Are they bigger than 16? You think those are 24s?
They might be 24s. As long as they're over 23. They're 23 or bigger. Those are good sized tunes. That's not a bad boat.
For $1,000?
Dude, that's a killer. I would kill for a boat like that down here for $1,000. People were trying to rip me off for $4,000 or $5,000. Then I got to go in and haggle them down.
All right, here's a good one, Naeem. I'm gonna let you start with this one. What's the jankiest thing you've done to a boat in your career?
Oh man, oh that's tough.
I'll let you think about it. I'll tell mine because it's not really a secret. It's on YouTube. But so when I got my boat,
you're the king of jankiest stuff, right?
Do what?
You're the king of jankiest things to do to
pretty much. So on my 16-foot boat, I had a ton of leaks in the rivets, and I never checked them when I was building the boat. I just filled it up with water one time, and I looked under it real quick, and I'm like, oh, that looks good, and I just kept it moving. Well, the first time we took the boat out, it probably had 40 gallons of water in the bottom of it. It kept coming up over the subfloor. So what did I do? I put in a second bilge pump. And I kept it. I rode that boat for 3 years before Ryan was like, I'm not getting in this boat with you anymore.
It's a death trap.
As a matter of fact, when we were, Mike, you remember when we went to, was it South Carolina for that river run?
Oh, yeah. You took your little girlfriend and she couldn't stand that boat.
Yeah. And he was like, dude, this boat is going to sink before we even get to the first sandbar. And after that, I got back. I finally fixed all the leaking rivets. Now it doesn't leak at all.
Oh my gosh.
What about you, Mike? What's the jankiest thing you've ever done?
Only because I had no other skills at the time. I aluminum brazed the back seam of a transom together. I'm pretty sure it didn't hold for very long, but it did hold initially. The very bottom where the bottom of the hole in the transom meet. Yeah, that was separating. I'm like, this is no bueno. My boat's going to sink. And so I brazed that crap together. I'm pretty sure I did more damage than good when I did that. But I could have sworn that was the only way I could think of saving the hull. And I also brazed all the leaky rivets and cracks in the bottom of that hole. That boat leaked like a stuck pig. But it had so much foam and it didn't matter. But man, when that thing moved through the water, when a boat has too much water in it, it doesn't stop moving, right? It just keeps on gliding in the water, and then the auto builds would come on. That's how you know you have too much water in your boat. And I rode that boat like that forever. That was the jankiest boat I ever built. And then I also shoved because that was back when nobody really knew that. If they thought if aluminum was in there, that it was lighter than wood, right? And so I was putting an 1/8 inch aluminum 1x3s or 2x3s in there, like stacking aluminum on top of the riveting it all together. Parts of it were 1/4 inch thick, and it was way too. The frame was too strong for the hull itself, and it was way overframed. It's super heavy. It was ridiculous. It had a 40 horsepower on it, and it had trouble planing. It was ridiculous.
I got one, Chris.
Go for it.
When I bought my, this is actually still the case, but on my personal boat, when I bought the my e-propulsion Navy 6, the original battery is like, it's huge, 200 pounds. I'm in a rush to get this thing in my boat and just get it in the water. I'm super excited. So it's such a big battery. You got to figure out where you're going to put it. 200 pounds. I literally took a jigsaw to my rear bench seat and literally didn't measure anything. I just straight cut a huge gap hole in it, shoved the battery under my seat, and was like, oh, I'll fix it up later. I'll make it look nice later. Dude, it's still like that to this day. And I'm rocking it like 3-4 years.
I still got parts of foam in my cockpit that I never put in there. It's just like, I don't know. If it was a customer build, I would have to do it. But because it's mine, I'm okay with it being crappy.
And that's the thing.
It's yours,
yeah.
I just don't care. I'm just like, I could spend my time worrying about it, or I could just go fish.
I got to run a bar from my from my middle bench to my rear bench. I put a bar in there to keep the battery from sliding out when I'm trailing the boat. There you go. Works like a champ, though.
That's what's up.
How would you put mounting tracks, rod holders inside the boat?
Railblazer, or you can buy T-tracks on Amazon for pretty cheap, but they're not very strong. But Railblazer has the best T-track mounting options. They have their track loaders, and they're pretty darn good. People use them to troll for tuna. They hold. I would say Railblazer has like the best system for T-track mounts for side rod holders and stuff for on the market. Period. They beat everybody. They beat Scotty. They beat Canon. They beat everybody.
That's what we usually use as the Railblazer ones.
Yeah.
Let's see, Mike, I saw you welding your boats with a spool gun. So I'm buying a Lincoln 140 and a spool gun. I have MIG welding in school years ago. Built a bunch of roll cages, so I feel like I can do it. Man, if Mike can do it, anybody can do it. That dude ain't got no training.
Absolute facts. 100, go for it.
So Clint says it just purchased a Bass Tender 10-foot boat with 2 built-in swivel seats and mounts on the front and back for trolling motors. Question is, I only have a 44-pound thrust trolling motor. Is that enough to get me around? Yeah, I think so.
On a 10-foot boat, yeah.
Yeah. Mike, what did you run on your little 10-foot little Bass Raider?
For a 45 or 40 pound? 40 pound. That thing that thing goes to the water like a brick. It's super low efficiency. So it almost doesn't matter.
I had a 55.
I mean, it does, but it does. I mean, you're not going to get a whole lot of efficiency. If you put a 55 on it, you're not going to go hardly any faster. The thing is just a brick. I mean, it probably goes 2 miles or so slower than a John boat equivalent. That's how inefficient the plastic is and how efficient that hole is. Just enjoy what you have. But, yeah, I'd say a 40 would hold it in the wind. Hold it pretty good. I was using a 30-pounder. So on the Palm Prowler 8, I was using a 35-pound or a 30-pound trolling motor on that one, and that one held in the wind.
That was
the original auto boat that we all knew about that one.
Yeah, I run a 45 on my 1648, and it works fine.
Yeah.
So we got another question. How would you build a 16-foot V-hull for saltwater fishing? You do any saltwater boats, Naeem?
Not really. I'm not a saltwater fishing expert. I'd rely on the customer to tell me what they want for it.
I know if it was me and that was going to be my primary goal is to fish out of that V-hull boat, I would build it like whatever center console flat skiff that you like. So you're going to have all the features of a flat skiff, but you're going to have it in a V-hull boat. and that will get you through the waves a little bit better. You get out in those like 2 or 3 foot swells, you're going to be able to handle those coming back in. But the basic layout, the reason that center console boats and center console skiffs all look almost exactly the same, they're just either smaller or bigger, is because it works. It's a good layout. Being able to walk all the way around the console, having a bait tank, having a live well, and a near gunnel height or at gunnel height front deck is really all you need. That'll do pretty much everything you need for saltwater fishing. Unless you're planning on getting into trolling and downriggers and all that other stuff, the back deck isn't super, super important unless you're going to have somebody fishing with you all the time. If you do, then spend a little bit more time to make that back deck as big as you need so that the person fishing in the back feels comfortable. Mike, you got any suggestions on saltwater V-holes?
I don't really know what the circumstances for them are. If they're just, I would just make it sure that it can go offshore well. Prepare it for the offshore. Put foam in that thing.
Yeah.
And then just put the layout you want in there, but you need to come correct when you're out there in the ocean. Let's say
good point.
The ocean and the lakes are not the same.
Yeah.
HS Salvador was commenting on the where you're talking about don't buy the pour foam earlier from Amazon. He's bought it two bottles before and they both leaked. So there you go. You heard it from us and you're hearing it from people watching. So
I bought Amazon foam before, and I don't know what, but I mean, sometimes these companies who buy it to sell it, they keep it for long periods of time. And so it wasn't even coming from Total Boat. It was coming from some company that had expired foam. They sold me expired foam, and it almost ruined my boat build.
Wow!
It actually did twice. And then some other guy I was dealing with, he bought a bunch of Amazon foam, and it really ruined the timeline and did a bunch of things. And so, never buy foam from Amazon. Don't do it. Just buy from the source. You want Total Boat stuff? Use Total Boat. You want our stuff, which I think is actually much more user friendly because the cook off time for it is slower, so you have more usable time to work with it. Then just get it through us.
Josh Montgomery just wanted to say hello. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thinking of adding a floor to my 14-foot V-hole. Just wondering, do I need to worry about messing up the weight distribution or balance? That's you two. Both y'all know more about that than I do.
I mean, you always want to consider weight distribution with any boat build out. But I would think even with a V-hole, you would pay even more attention to that. But yeah, definitely try to distribute that weight as best as you can.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and you may not need to add a floor to the entire hull, depending on how you're going to do your hatches and stuff like that and your conduit. But just consider like where you need to add material, where your batteries will be, size motor and all that stuff. Just try to consider all that stuff with your layout, but balance it out as best as you can.
Yeah. You ain't going to mess up the weight distribution just by putting in a floor. At the very least, you don't got to worry about that.
Right.
It's when you start to put in the decks and stuff. But the biggest thing that'll throw off the weight distribution of a floor is a live well and the battery compartment. So one of those has to be center 50 or center 40. Like I would say center 40. I like to put the batteries center 40, and then I'll put if there's a live well in the gas tank specifically, I'll generally put those toward the back. It's easier to plumb them, right? But having the batteries in the first front of the boat, the front half of the boat definitely help offset the gas tank and or a live well being filled up. Plus, there's an outboard up there. So I mean, but if you have your batteries and your gas tank and your live well and your outboard and you in the back, that is when the boat drives like crap. So, but when you have your batteries and your tackle up front and all your gear, it kind of offsets it for a tiller building the V-hull. It's really, I mean, a lot of people argue that you need to put your live well center 50 also, but just the issues with plumbing and getting water there, and then have the excess the excess stuff of having to worry about rigging it and the troubleshooting once a line has ran up that far up the subfloor, that stuff starts to cause a little bit more problems. Not thinking about adding any and all weight that you can up in the front, obviously, because this thing, and just keeping the live well. I wouldn't put the live well behind the gas tank. I would put it in front of the gas tank, but I'd have the gas tank just before the outboard and the live well. That generally does pretty good. We have pretty good results from that.
Mike, I got a question on Instagram. Somebody's asking, do we have any plans on doing a 12 to 14 foot aluminum? I'm assuming that's Klamath, Klamath.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like a Gregor or a Valco. It's like one of those types of boats.
A big B hull.
Yeah.
Is there anything special about that specific boat versus any of the other V hulls that you've done on videos?
It's probably better quality. Probably. It's probably a lot better quality. I don't know. A lot of people like the Kramas. They're real popular boat in California. Like the Gregors and the Kramas and the Valcos. Those are all like very, very similar style boats. They had their run, they had their era, and they're still around there. So can you do the foam school online, or you can go do it's SKOOL on our website, TBNation.net.
Yep.
And you can just enroll in our advanced program and get that class right away, and we can show you exactly how to do it. Heck yeah, man. Sweet.
Kelvin, we appreciate it, bud.
Appreciate it. You won't be sorry.
Nate is just now joining, finally. Hello, Nate. Ibiota said on the Sundolphin 12, the top edge is too narrow from what I can tell for a rail system. Do you guys know of a rail that does fit? If not, it's doable to put a rail on the inside edge. The Sundolphin 12, so the problem that we had with ours is that all the inside lips are kind of rounded. So we ended up selling ours, but what I did on the inside of the walls, like just below the gunnel, is I took a heat gun and kind of heated it up so that I could put a screw in it and try to pull it out flat. And then I put those real Blazer rails down the side. Like I put 2 in the front and 2 in the back so I could put rod holders on there, and just used a couple of screws. Like regular wood screws work great. You don't need self-tapping screws. All right, we'll take one more question. I had to talk to Naeem about a few things and let him talk about his shop and new stuff he's got going on. I got some pictures I want to share with everybody. Fiberglass resin or epoxy resin for coating a wood deck?
I never use fiberglass resin. That's polyester resin, right?
Well, there's 2 different kinds. There's vinyl ester and there's polyester. Polyester is cheap stuff that you buy at Home Depot and Lowe's or pretty much anywhere, and it's not waterproof. It is water resistant, but it is what most boats are made out of. But they rely on the gel coat to make it waterproof. If it was me, I would use vinyl ester resin because it's actually cheaper than epoxy, but not quite as cheap as polyester. But vinyl ester resin is waterproof. Or if you're on a budget, just do the old paint method. Rust-Oleum paint works great.
It does. It's super hard to beat for the money.
Yeah. Naeem, do you have a preference?
I use fiberglass resin more than anything else these days. Yeah, I haven't really used epoxy resin too much, but the fiberglass resin works out pretty good for me.
I mean, the epoxy two-part marine epoxy resin is the best to use, hands down. But
it is more expensive.
It's so much more expensive. You're looking at like 4 times the cost, at least. Yeah, 4 times the cost between the resin and the hardener itself. It's $160 just for one gallon, $100 just for the 105, then another however much money for the hardener. And you want to get the slow hardener, but it definitely is better. But it really, if you can get a plastic layer from the polyester stuff or the vinyl, whatever, I would just use that.
So James is talking about the school program that we have. It's like he said, it's basically like having a place to ask constant questions and post pictures. It really is, but it's a lot more than that too. So we've got every other week Ryan does a coaching session or a coaching lab where you can sit down with him one-on-one on a video call, go over your boat building plans, draw up a schematic, figure out what parts you need. He can actually help you through the build. Ask specific questions. Where do I put rivets at? What do I need for this? Anything and everything you want to know. You got access to somebody right there to pay attention to you and pay attention to your build. Then we've also got the forum section of it where you can do your project logs. You can ask, just general questions. And then we've got all the master classes that Mike and Ryan have put together. So it's kind of a video step-by-step how-to on how they built different boats over the years, kind of give you some ideas and things to go along through the process. And then I do some hangouts every other week, just a general Q&A, kind of like we're doing here live. It's a little more personal though, because I can talk to you directly and answer your questions. You don't chat back and forth or type anything in. It's a great program, and it's private. You ain't got to worry about no drama. You ain't got people posting memes and getting their feelings hurt, and it's all like-minded people that are focused on boat building. So, Naeem, I'm going to pull up some pictures real quick, but tell everybody that's out there listening what you guys do in your shop, specifically what you like to focus on, what services you offer, and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, so we offer everything from full-on build-outs, meaning you bring us a bare hull, we'll customize it exactly what you want to get out of it, whether it's a deck, subfloor, you name it. There's no limit to it. We'll do it from A to Z. And we also just do rigging jobs too. So I think one of the pictures you're going to show is one we did on a Lund 1875 where we just rigged it up. But yeah, we get it in. Whatever you need, top to bottom, we'll do it for you. This one right here, this was a fisher boat. One of the ones we completed pretty recently. And this boat was kind of fun. This guy did a lot of catfishing, Potomac River fishing, and yeah, we hooked it up for that. That was the primary use. He had those center seats. You probably can't see it. Those seat mounts there were the original seat mounts he had in the boat, and they were all cracked up and broken, but we were able to restore them. So that was a pretty proud moment right there. A lot of welding and patience.
That was good, dude. You did a good job on that one.
But yeah,
that's real good.
I'm sorry I don't have any before pictures, but yeah, if you could, it's on the channel, Bass Brothers Fishing DMV, if you ever want to see it.
That's good quality work. That's sorely needed down there in the Northeast.
Yeah, so that was a fun one there.
I love the stick steer in that. I've got to build me a stick steer boat. Everybody keeps asking about it. I swear, it's like every time we post a new build video, that's the two comments I get is, when are you going to build a stick steer, and when are you putting a console or center console on it?
Well, Mr. Chris, since you like to build boats so much, it's on you, man.
Well,
I'm going to do both. I've actually already got the stick steer boat here at the shop. I had a 1542 we're going to build a stick steer out of.
It works pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm
just debating on whether I want to do a jet.
Yeah, I was going to say, even a jet boat.
John jet, or if I want to do an outboard. I don't really know yet. So let me pull up one of these other pictures. No, y'all do framing in rivets, or y'all do welding too?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. We do both. Primarily welding at this point, though. We transitioned over to welding once we got comfortable doing that for a lot of boats. So, sorry, I'm eating gummies. We do a lot like this one here.
Or are they just the regular gummies?
These are twin snakes. They're sweet and sour.
About to say, if they're the good gummies, I don't think you'd be eating that many all at once.
Man, they're awesome. I gotta stop eating it though. But yeah, we do mostly welding now, but you can't get away from riveting. There's some areas where you just have to rivet, or even just for additional support for certain areas that you're welding where it's really hard to get to. You may end up riveting those spots. I'm riveting those spots as well. Yeah,
what is this blue boat that you got?
What's that, Chris?
What is this boat build that you got here?
This one here is a low 1448 Mod V. A couple guys came in, they fished the reservoirs, they do some tournaments and stuff. And they're actually pretty new to the whole boating scene. So they wanted, this one includes a live well, center live well, plenty of hatch space, and they went with the camo turf. What cobblestone?
The cobblestone. Yeah.
I really like the cobblestone, man. It goes with like any colored boat in existence almost.
Yeah, I mean, it even goes with that blue. That's a pretty bold move. Whoever did that.
Yeah, it is.
That color
It
scheme.
is. Yeah. We actually had to do a little bit of painting on the interior of that to just fix some of the stuff that was needed on the painting side of things. But yeah, we did a full build out on this one, and they're pretty happy with it.
It looks really good, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look really good. That's good work. I'm glad you were able to turn that around and start doing that.
Yep.
I see all the comments on YouTube. I'll get to them in just a second. I'll finish going through this stuff real quick. This next one, we'll pull it up here on the screen so everybody can take a look at it, is pretty cool looking boat. So what is this one? Naeem, is it? Yeah, it should be on screen now.
Yeah, this actually is one of my favorites right here. We actually just finished this one. This one was picked up just a couple days ago. This is an Alumacraft 1648 Mod V. That has the Gator camo on there. Full rod locker on the left side there, and it's got the sniper live scope pole, manual pole, which is a pretty good one. It's probably my favorite one so far that we've installed. And this one here, yeah, he fishes pretty big waters, and fishes for stripers, largemouth, family guy, and I think this is a boat that he's running a 9.9 on. He's looking to upgrade as well, but got the Tarova motor up front. I think that's a 55-pound if I remember correctly, and he's got some Garmin units and just getting into live scoping. And he actually opted not to have his foot pedal recess, which was a good option. But one thing with this Alumacraft boat, which I don't know what year this was, but that original front deck was.
We lost Naeem.
Oh man. Dang it, Naeem.
He's gone. I got him back, I think.
Okay, sweet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Back now.
Can you hear me?
You trying to ditch us?
Nah, man.
You forgot to pay your phone bill and you got cut off.
I'm ride or die, man. Well, I don't know what the last thing is you heard I said.
You were talking about the foot pedal. He didn't do the recess foot pedal.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I was mentioning like on this model Alumacraft, and this is something for folks to think about if you do have this boat. The factory deck goes back about, if I had to guess, probably about 4 to 5 feet. So trying to like reach up under there to secure a trolling motor or your fish finder mount and stuff like that is kind of impossible to do unless you're an alien. But we ended up welding the trolling motor mount in, welding the fish finder mount in, and some other things. But it came out nice. And the amber lights, I'm really feeling the amber lights. I might have to put those in my boat.
Just do the RGBs, man, and you can do whatever color you want.
Yeah, true. And those nav lights actually came with the boat. We didn't do those, but
those look really good.
They were super bright.
We'll pull up this other one that you sent me. So where specifically is your shop located? Like what city area are you in?
So we're in Beltsville, Maryland, right off the Capitol Beltway, right off of 495. The next closest city to us is College Park, where University of Maryland is, but it's pretty convenient for folks that are in the area to get to Beltsville, Maryland.
All right, so what is this one that we're looking at? The white, it's either white or silver.
Yeah, good eye. That's more of a silver color. I forget the exact name of it. We actually rattle canned that boat.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, it was
real good.
We finished that one maybe about a month ago, and the boat owner actually built it for his son, which was pretty cool, young son. Haven't dropped a video on this yet, but that's going to be a cool video. Look out for that, guys. But yeah, he went with the cobblestone again, but I don't know if you can see it on there. It has two types. It has the flat on the walls.
Yeah.
And then the cut groove in the rest of the boat. And I also did the matte black inside the cockpit.
Yeah, I see that. It looks good.
Yeah, so that came out pretty well, the green lights and stuff.
I'll be honest, I was never a cobblestone fan when the cut groove came out, but then when we did Ryan's boat with that just flat cobblestone with the knurled finish,
that looked good.
So good. Just kind of like you got it on those sidewalls. It looks awesome right there.
It looks really good. Really good. And this one, we actually had to weld up a bow plate up front to mount the trolling motor on. There was nothing there, just an empty void. So that was something unique to be done for this one.
What did you use for that little cubby hole, little storage spot you got up here in the front?
It's funny. That's a little glove box I got actually from Nate.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
So it's kind of twofold, right? You can store stuff in it, and then if you ever need to get under there, you can just remove the box, unscrew it, get under there to do whatever, tighten up something. I think I even have a bus bar in there.
Very nice.
Yeah,
I like the pole holders on the side of the gunnel walls. That's nice. And that low front deck that kind of, is it the same height as the side?
No, you got it. It drops down up front, maybe about 6 inches.
I like that. That's kind of cool. I've never seen anybody do that before.
Yeah, and we just dropped it out, edge trimmed the cockpit for the LED lights, and we can actually run the wires inside that edge trim. And guys, this is all stuff that's on TBNation.net. So, check it out. It's really good stuff. This is it in action.
I think you sent me one more. Let's pull it up. I think this is a rigging. So y'all actually do electronics rigging and trolling motors and stuff like that as well?
Yeah. So even if you don't have like a full build out, you just want stuff installed, we'll handle that too. This is the Lund. And what you can see like that double graph mount we put in there, that's from Beatdown. And he's got 2 Humminbird Helix 10s up on the console.
Crazy mount.
And then
you did that?
Yeah.
Dang, look at that.
Yeah, it came out really sweet. I mean, huge upgrade for this guy. He put the Explorer 12 up front.
All that pressure, was that 20 grand worth of graphs? You're liable for that.
There you go. Got the Mega Live going into and so just I think the toughest thing on this one was just finding the conduit and making it work, because that for such a big boat, had one little maybe 1.5 inch tube right up underneath the top right, underneath here, and we just had to make it work. But a lot of it is kind of just figuring out where stuff is, how it's run, and just working with it and getting it done. But he got a pretty good layout.
Looks good.
No, it looks good, yeah.
Everyone to take a moment and recognize how clean Naeem's shop looks. I don't know if I should have pulled out the picture from earlier. Where was it? Hold on, let me pull it up real quick.
You gonna make fun of me, man?
No, I think it's awesome. Like, I commend you for being so.
An organized shop is the happy shop. You can see my garage right now, destroyed.
I try, man, because
destroyed.
Look at. I gotta pull this back up. I'm gonna zoom in on this so everybody can see. Look at this man's workshop, bro. It is, everything is so.
I don't know if you organized. You ain't gonna like my garage. You'll lose your mind. Oh, you did come by work one time. What'd you think of my garage?
Yeah, Mike goes through phases, man. Every 6 months, Mike will go and just tear everything up and just fix it all up and then destroy it all over again.
I need to redo my tool locker. It sucks.
I just hate not being able to find stuff.
Problems with my tool locker. I'm gonna take it out, man.
I just can't stand when you can't find stuff. It's just a time suck.
Facts.
I'm super jealous that you can actually keep your shop that clean. I try because I'm.
No, you don't. That's a lie.
But dude, when we got 3 people working on 4 different projects and stuff in and out all the time, it's just like crap winds up everywhere, and I just have to stop like twice a week and just take an hour or 2 and just start cleaning stuff up. It drives me nuts.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I have to admit, this is early in the shop days, and right now, I mean, we have 4 or 5 boats in there, and a lot more crap is in there. Trust me. So I probably can't say it's that clean right now, but It just drives me crazy, man. I have to know where stuff is because it's nothing like being on a time clock and you can't find what you need.
No, I'm the same way. The overtime it has gotten to me. Like it has worn me down to not be organized, and now I have to stop and take a break and clean and organize my stuff to move on. Because I hate stepping, even on the metal shavings of like grinded aluminum. I hate stepping on it now. It does not bother me. Now it bothers me a lot. Like even that bothers me. I got to stop and sweep it. Like it's gotten bad for me. Like I don't think OCD is something you're born with. Something you're like subjugated into once you're tired of like disorganization. Like I don't know. Because I used to not be that way. Now I'm like, I ain't working in this.
So we got a question.
Your brain has to work harder in a dirty shop.
It does.
Yeah. I need all the bandwidth I can use. My usable bandwidth left needs to be focused on the boat.
Yeah.
That's a stupid ass job. Yeah.
So we got a question is asking if we ever plan on opening a shop in Texas.
Dude, we've tried. You got to find somebody like Naeem. Yeah.
You can open a shop in Texas.
You can find somebody like Naeem, then we can do it. But otherwise, who knows?
Yep.
Just go for it. It's easy.
Don't lie. Start ruin their lives.
Hey, you will not sleep. I mean, I'm at the shop 12 hours minimally a day. 6 to 6 is my average. So, you know, it's a lot of work.
It is. It really is. And you get to a point like you want to be busy. You want to have customers walking the door and bringing you stuff. But every time you have to stop and deal with a customer, that's just that much less time that you've got to work on boats. So you wind up compensating by staying late and staying all weekend and working on boats nonstop when you should be off resting. So you never get any rest because you're always working on boats trying to catch up from all the craziness that happened while you were in the shop during normal business hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of admin stuff. You got to deal with accounts and just all kind of stuff that's non-boat building related. So it gets tough.
So a question about school. How long do you need to do it for the minimum? You can do it for however long you want. I know they have a free trial going on right now. I think it's 7 days. And then after that, sign up for a membership. But I mean, most of the people that get on it stay for a couple months at least, just so they can get, their questions answered, knowledge based from, because it's not just us. You got me, Mike, Ryan, Nick, Nate's in there. It's not just us. So it's all the other people that are building boats too. That some of them are customers of ours. Some are just, know us from social media, YouTube, and they're in there answering questions and giving advice too. And I mean, hell, sometimes they get to you faster than we can. We got some really good people in there, like James, and we got quite a few in there that constantly are answering questions. It's like a community. We're friends. We all hang out. We talk. It's nothing other than that. So that's what we like about it is there's no BS, no drama. Let's see. So somebody was asking about sample packs of EVA turf. So we do have the option to get samples of HydroTurf, but it doesn't come through us. It goes through HydroTurf.
Yeah.
If you want to buy a little sample pack of whatever HydroTurf you're thinking about doing, it's real cheap. I think it's only a couple bucks and you just pay for shipping. You go over on the HydroTurf website and you can order samples from there. Looked on the turf website, but they don't ship to my place in Arizona. If they don't, contact us at the shop and tell us where you're at. We should be able to get them over to you. Somebody's asking about a 45-pound thrust bow mount Minn Kota. What lithium battery would you recommend? Brand is, you get whatever brand you want. You're gonna buy once, cry once, and buy a good brand that's going to last you a long time, or you're going to buy some cheap shit and you're going to be in the same position I was where it either blows up or it dies within 4 months and you can't get it warranted. The sizing is going to depend on how much fishing you're doing and how often you're using it. So here's an example. Ryan runs a 24-volt Minn Kota Tarova, or no, is it a Tarova? No, it's an Ultrex. So he's running a 24-volt Ultrex on the front of his 16-foot boat, fully rigged out, and he can fish an entire 8 to 10-hour tournament and still have 82% of his battery left. He's got a 60-amp-hour battery. Me, on the other hand, I run a very similar size boat, 1648. I've got a 45-pound thrust Minn Kota and Edge on my boat with an auto boat, and I run a 12-volt 100-amp-hour battery. I typically troll very slow speeds when I'm dragging planer boards for catfish. I usually burn about 30 to 40% of my battery on, about a 6 to 8 hour trip. I can typically make it 2 trips on one battery charge and really not have to worry about anything. So it really just depends on your voltage and how long you need to stay out for.
I always say when in doubt, just get 100 amp hour, 12 volt. You're not going to finish that in a day,
Yeah.
But you can just work your way down from there if you feel like it. But if you're just doubting it, put 100. Especially some companies sell minis and stuff like that in case size is an issue. 100 amps will cover you pretty easily.
We're gonna have to do a full show one night all about lithium batteries because there's a lot to it. But I will give you one little tidbit. Over the years of working with lithium and installing them in boats and dealing with people all over the world dealing with lithium batteries, because we have customers from all over, sailboaters, they go all over the place and use their lithium batteries. I've kind of changed my tune about how I feel about sizing lithium batteries. One of the things that I've found is with lithium, you never have any warning that things are going bad until they go bad. And it can happen to anybody. You never know when a cell might break or a wire might come undone inside the battery. You lose voltage out in the middle of nowhere and there's no fixing it. You're screwed. So instead of figuring out what size battery I need and focusing on one battery, I'm starting to look into redundant batteries. So if I need 100 amp hour 12 volt, I would be better off and I would feel more comfortable having two 50 amp or 50 amp hour 12 volt batteries wired in parallel. That way, if something ever happens to one of them, I've always got a backup. And we're starting to do that in a lot of bass boat builds now. We have guys come in with big bass boats and they want to put a 24 or 36 volt system in for their big trolling motor. I a lot of times recommend that they get two 40 amp hour 36 or 24 volts. That way they've always got a backup. If you're out fishing a tournament halfway through the day, if you got a Garmin Force that runs on 36 volts and the only other battery in your boat is a 12 volt battery for your electronics, and something happens to that 36 volt halfway through the tournament, you're screwed. You cannot do anything. You can't use a 12 volt to run a 36 volt trolling motor. It won't work. So I recommend that they get two smaller 36 volt batteries and run them in parallel. That way you've always got a backup.
I could also see if you have a 12 volt trolling motor, you could just put a battery switcher on it that will let you run your trolling motor off of a secondary battery that's running something else, right? Maybe your electronics or something, just to get you through that day. But to Chris's point, once you start bumping up volts, 24, 36, then yeah, I second that parallel battery setup for redundancy.
For specific branding, that's what he's asking in this comment here. It really depends. I mean, if you want the best of the best, you want to buy once, cry once. There's 3 brands I'd recommend: Powerhouse, Pro Guide, or Epic. They all use grade A cells or better. They all have really good warranty terms. The thing that shocks people with those kind of batteries, though, is you got to remember those are top of the line. You're going to pay for them up front. But what you're going to gain long term is you're going to get better customer service. Pro Guy's located here in the U.S., Powerhouse is located here in the U.S., and Epic's located here in the U.S. So when you have a problem, if you ever have a problem, you got somebody that speaks Americaland that can help you deal with that problem and get the batteries warranted. If you go with Amazon Ching Chong Fing Fong batteries like I've tested in the past, those things burn up in 4 months. You ain't getting an email back from nobody. You got nowhere to call. Amazon, you're past your 90 days. Amazon doesn't care about you anymore. So you're screwed. So you can't take your chances. I get a lot of questions about Lifetime. I've actually met some of the people from Lifetime. They actually came to the shop and brought me some batteries to try out. I've heard a lot of good things, and I've heard some not so good things about Lifetime. I am personally running a Lifetime battery in my boat right now for testing to see what I think about it long term. I've been using it for about 6 months or so. So far, I haven't had any issues. But it seems like for every Amazon review I've read that's good, I've also read another review that's bad. So I'm not 100% sold on Lifetime yet. I've seen a couple of them torn apart. They seem to be good quality build. Most of the complaints I hear are about getting replacements and warranties. And, that's my biggest selling point for lithium batteries is Who's going to take care of me if something goes wrong?
Yeah, and that's real talk because it will happen at some point. Like we've installed a lot of lifetime batteries. Like customers will bring their boats in with them to be installed, and I've had a couple. That's not a lot, but let's say 2 out of every 10. Well, that's probably a lot. Has had an issue where it won't even charge, and that whole start to finish process of getting a replacement was like almost 2 months. So if you're on a time crunch and that ends up happening to you and you need to be out on the water with your boat, it can be a problem.
Yep. Like I said, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. Read the reviews, read the good reviews, read the bad reviews. Don't just take it from us. Do your research.
Yeah.
Like somebody here is asking about, where does Lifetime rank with us? I'm not 100% saying they're bad, but I'm not saying they're great either. So far, so good from my testing, and I've seen the inside of them. They look impressive for what they are and for how cheap they're making them. The only concerns I have are about customer service.
Yeah.
So it's something you got to kind of take into consideration.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got any more. I think that's about it. So, Naeem, where can people go follow you aside from at your boat shop? You get the book face and the grams and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, we have all that. And I mean, if you followed us from before, our socials are still the same. So we're on most of the platforms, definitely on YouTube. Look us up, Bash Brothers Fishing DMV. Instagram, we're Bash Brothers Fishing. Facebook, Bash Brothers Fishing DMV, and TikTok, Bash Brothers Fishing. Also call us directly at the shop, 202-556-4433. And if you're interested in getting work done, you can also get on the website, bashbrothersfishing.com, and we have a request form to get in touch with us to get a quote for your job. But DM us. It doesn't matter. Just get in touch, and we'll be happy to take care of you.
Awesome. And your YouTube channel you don't have a specific YouTube channel for your shop yet. It's still the best.
Yeah, our YouTube channel, I considered starting another one, but man, it's hard enough to maintain one channel versus two. And we built such a good following on the existing channel. So we want to keep it, at least for now. So yeah, Bash Brothers Fishing DMV is still our channel. We do have the moniker on there, Tiny Boat Nation or TBNation Outdoors Northeast, because that is our official trade name for our business. But our business is run by Bash Brothers Enterprise, LLC. So that's the full skinny on us. We are officially TBNation Northeast on everything else. You can also email us, tbnnortheast@gmail.com. So plenty of ways to get in touch with us.
Yep. And I definitely recommend, in all seriousness, even though me and Naeem are friends and, we kind of work together, if you're ever looking for good information on boat builds, his channel is excellent for beginners. He takes a lot of time to go through the basic steps, doesn't leave anything out, not a lot of, crazy fancy editing to where you're like, whoa, what just happened? He goes step by step. He gives a lot of really good information. But he also has access to a lot of different kind of boats that I don't have access to here in Georgia. Like we don't do a lot of deep Vs. We don't do a lot of V holes. And he's got access to all that stuff, just like Mike does out there. We built one V hull in my entire career. I think I've worked on 2, but we've only built 1. And you and Mike build them all the time, like it's second nature to y'all.
Man, yeah, they're their own monster. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing all your knowledge and stuff with us tonight. And we will definitely have you back on again.
It's fun, man. I appreciate you having me on anytime.
So we will not be doing an after party tonight on school. We're going to do that next week. We're going to stick to the Thursdays for now, unless we get a whole bunch of people that decide they want to do a different night for the live streams. This is kind of becoming a new theme for us. I like doing them, and we get a lot of good interaction with people. We get a lot of time to answer questions. So we're going to try to do this weekly as much as we can. The next 2 weeks, I'm going to be on the road. I got shows, the Noe Expo in Cartersville this weekend, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And then the following weekend, I'll be in Cartersville for the Noe Outdoors Expo not Cartersville. I'll be in Greenville, South Carolina. All that information is on the website. You can check it out at noeoutdoors.com, or you can find them on Facebook. They also got a YouTube channel as well. if you want to come and see us, see the duck boat. I'm not charging for autographs this year. If it gets too busy, maybe next year I'll have to start charging. But yeah, we look forward to seeing everybody come over there, and also consider joining the school platform, the our new private group. A lot of people have come over there, and they're getting a lot of value out of it. People seem to really like it, and yeah, if you guys have anything that you want to talk about in a future live stream, anything that you're curious about or have questions about, make sure you leave me a comment. I am reading all the comments from the YouTube channel, like the people that are watching this after the fact. So I've got about 10 or so comments built up. So on the next live stream, I'll actually pull all those older comments up from people that have watched the live stream after the fact, and we'll go through and answer those. But Naeem, again, thanks for coming on, bud. I appreciate you, and I will catch you guys very, very soon.